wonderful thing about music is that it kind of helps set the mood for whatever you have going on. And one of my favorite things to do is to listen to some music while reading, especially fantasy. So today I'm going to share with you guys some of my favorite music to listen to while I'm reading fantasy books for this fantasy playlist video. Hello everyone, it is Samantha and I hope you guys are having a lovely day today. Today we are here to talk about music and fantasy books, which are two of my favorite things, particularly my favorite music to listen to while reading fantasy books. So sometimes I find if I'm having a hard time focusing on a book, if I throw on my headphones, listen to some instrumental music, it'll kind of help block out everything else that is going on in my world, whatever is going on in my vicinity, and it'll allow me to focus on the book and to read for a longer period of time. I cannot listen to music with words, so people singing, because that will completely distract me and then I'll start focusing on the lyrics being sung. So the Hamilton soundtrack is out for reading for me personally, but I really like instrumental music, in particular soundtracks. So I figured I would share with you guys some of my favorite CDs to listen to while reading fantasy books. So my first choice for forever, honestly, since I was like in high school when the movies came out, is the Lord of the Rings soundtracks. In particular, the first one will always be my favorite soundtrack. Howard Shore is an amazing composer and it definitely shows in the Lord of the Rings soundtracks. They're all pretty good, but the Fellowship of the Ring is in fact my favorite. It kind of sets the mood. It has some lighter, happier tones as well as some darker, grimmer tones to its music, and it really makes me engrossed, particularly if you're reading a fantasy book with some epic battle scenes, and that music from that soundtrack definitely helps to set the mood. My second favorite soundtrack to listen to are the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtracks. Any of them, really, but in particular the second one. I find Dead Man's Chest to be particularly good for listening to while reading fantasy books, but any of them will do, really, but definitely the second one is my favorite. The last one, the fourth one on Stranger Tides, which was the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean music, I actually like that one as well quite a bit, particularly the last few tracks, which are like the remixes by a DJ, and those are really fun to listen to too while you're reading, particularly if it's like a battle scene. And I particularly like listening to this one while reading Robin Hobb's books, particularly the Life Ship Traders trilogy, because you kind of have that nautical feel, which I don't even know if it has a nautical feel to it so much as I just associate it with water because it is Pirates of the Caribbean, but they definitely make for really good atmospheric music. The next few are actually particular artists, not necessarily soundtracks. The first one is David Garrett. David Garrett is one of my favorite violinists. He is just amazing and he does some really good rock renditions on the violin. And they make for some really good rocked out music to listen to while reading fantasy because it kind of gets you going and it makes you feel like even more invested in the story, if you will. The next one I want to mention is another violinist, and that is Lindsey Stirling. As many of you guys are aware of Lindsey Stirling, I love Lindsey Stirling. She does kind of a dance mix on a violin as well as other more traditional stuff, and I just love her music so much. She's just a wonderful violinist and she puts a lot of energy into her music, but her music just holds a lot of spirit and it just kind of gets you going and gets you super invested in the story. The last artist I want to mention is Escala. It's another band that features multiple stringed instruments, but they do the same type of music as David Garrett and Lindsey Stirling. So it's kind of upbeat, kind of dancey, kind of just really gets you into the mood and invested in your story, I find. But I really like their stuff as well, and it's kind of a good mix of multiple string instruments, so it's not just a violin, and it's another band that I really like that you don't hear a whole lot about, so I thought I'd recommend to you guys today. Alright guys, those are my recommendations for creating a good fantasy playlist. I'm always interested in hearing what you guys would recommend for reading fantasy or anything really that is more instrumental music, not necessarily anything with words, because that will distract me. So please leave your recommendations down below so we can all see and share from that. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Until next time, happy reading. Bye!